What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Monday, September 2nd, 2024, and we are back with another stream here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button, hit the subscribe button, and if you are new to the channel, I'm glad you were here. Hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live, or simply better, just join the Discord. I should have put the Discord link pinned at the top before I actually got started. I'll just go ahead and copy it and post it in the chat now. Shout out to all of the mods, all of the members here on the channel. Shout out to everybody over there on Patreon. Shout out to everyone on Instagram, X, and also in the Discord, and those who send me stories. I greatly appreciate it. I hope everybody is enjoying their day. I know a lot of you had the day off, so I'm glad that if you did have the day off, you enjoyed yourself. If you are an essential worker, hey, it is what it is. I used to be in your shoes a few years ago. Glad I'm not there anymore. But let me go ahead and acknowledge the people who are here so far. We have Revolutionary 2, Dimple Face, Scylla T, Irvin Green, Deneen Grant, Brother Man to You, Denise Scales, Savion Zero, Robert Brown, that guy from Texas, Andre, Derry B, Donisha Gray, Jay Cage, Mr. Williams, Damon Reeves. Who else is in here? Regina, Cosma, and shout out to Cosma, because now we can officially say today is Cosma's birthday, because we've been saying happy birthday to this dude for the last couple of days. It's like the guy has had 3 or 4 birthdays, but now today is the official day. So make sure y'all put some happy birthdays in the chat for Cosma. We also got PD That Remains, Roku Muro, Raging Woody, Panther Strike, DC Precise. And that is all that is in here so far. It's probably not going to take me long to get to this stream because it's only one particular article that I could find about this. I mean, there were others, but they all pretty much said the same exact thing. So I was like, no need of me having to go through multiple articles if they're all going to read the same exact thing. And we all know that this decision that they came down to was a bunch of bullshit. But we're not in the least bit surprised that that is the decision that they decided to come with. So before I go ahead and get into it, because I'm going to play this video coming from CBS Mornings, let me go ahead and play the display.
The major update in the case of Breonna Taylor, the 26-year-old Louisville woman killed in her own home in a police raid, which was set off protests nationwide. Last week, a federal judge threw out felony charges against 2 former officers who were accused of falsifying the warrant that sent police to Taylor's door. Jerika Duncan reports.
Breonna Taylor's death sparked an outcry for racial justice across the country after police shot and killed her in 2020. Taylor was caught in the crossfire when Louisville police raided her apartment using an allegedly false drug warrant. Her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, fired 1 shot that hit an officer in the leg. Police returned fire 32 rounds, 8 of which hit Taylor. Walker, a licensed gun owner, said he believed an intruder was breaking in. Following the shooting, the Department of Justice filed charges against 4 officers.
Those alleged crimes include civil rights offenses, unlawful conspiracies, unconstitutional use of force, and obstruction offenses.
But late last week, a federal judge in Kentucky dismissed felony charges against 2 of them. Former Louisville police detective Joshua Janes and former Sergeant Kyle Meany.
Now, these 2 right here, I didn't know who these 2 were until recently, because when they were talking about, y'all remember when they were talking about Breonna Taylor, they only talked about those 3 main cops, the one that, especially that smug one that wrote that whole book. But those were it was only 3 of them that they mainly talked about. I didn't know that these 2 right here existed. So these are just 2 that they kind of tucked away until now, when they decide to say, you know what, we're going to drop these felony charges against them. See the protection that they gave them? I bet nobody in this chat knew who these 2 guys were, whether by name or by face. Now, you heard what they said so far. They said 32 rounds were shot in that apartment. 32. 8 of them hit Breonna. 1 of them hit one of them in the leg, and that was the one that came from Kenneth Walker's firearm, in which he was a licensed gun owner, and he legally had the right to have that firearm, and he was protecting his home. I knew it was some shady stuff that was going to kick up when they decided to charge him and then arrest him and put him in jail. Shout out to one of the most on-code judges out there, Judge Olu Stevens, that actually took one look at that and said, there's no way that this man should be in my courtroom right now with these charges. And he had all those charges dismissed, and they sent, they got him out and they sent him on his way. In my opinion, this is nothing more than further traumatizing him, as well as Breonna Taylor's family. This is like one big trolling tactic for them. I mean, the fact that they actually did this, and then went and to add insult to injury, to then go back and say that it's Kenneth Walker's fault for why his girlfriend is deceased. If this is not the most PC, I'm white and I'm say so that you've heard in quite some time, I don't know what is.
The judge ruled that it was not a bad warrant, but it was Walker's actions that legally caused Taylor's death because he fired the first shot. Janes and Meany were not at the raid, but prosecutors accused them of knowingly falsifying part of the warrant and putting Taylor in danger by sending armed officers to her apartment.
And it was a no-knock warrant, which was illegal. So they falsified a warrant, and they did an illegal no-knock warrant. I mean, a no-knock raid, basically. Just came right up in there. Anyone who could see this with good eyes, or probably not even the best vision, would know that someone would think, oh, someone's trying to break into my home. Think back to Sonia Massey when she called the police because of a disturbance. Instead of just knocking on the door, what does Sean Grayson do? He's banging on the door like 10 damn times, as if he's trying to get in. Anyone would think that's an intruder. But the fact of the matter is that they've been trying to get this case to go a particular way ever since it happened. So now that they're doing this is their way of completely saying, now we're trying to get away from this story altogether. Let's start slowly dropping these major charges. And the icing on the cake, let's go ahead and just put all the blame on Kenneth Walker. How many times have I told you that in this establishment, it is illegal for a Black person to defend themselves and go and manage to get away with defending themselves unscathed, especially from the usual suspect? You're going to actually see a particular, it's a video that I have coming this week that's going to display that. It may be a story you may or may not have heard, but if you haven't heard it, just think back to what I just said right now.
In a statement to CBS News, an attorney for Breonna Taylor's family said, quote, "We are devastated at the moment by the judge's ruling and are just trying to process everything."
every day feels like March the 14th to me. Every day does.
CBS News spoke with Walker about Taylor's death in 2021.
And I'm sitting right here today and I'm feeling tired.
Tired. What are you tired of?
I'm tired of having to get up every day and, you know, and my life is changed. Like, I'm the only person who has to deal with it every day. Breonna Taylor's just a hashtag to other people, but she was something bigger than me, of course.
Prosecutors plan to appeal the decision. That's according to the Taylor family's attorney. And attorneys for the two officers told CBS News that they are, quote, very pleased with last week's ruling. And just moments ago, I got off the phone with Kenneth Walker's attorney. He said that Walker cannot be prosecuted again, but they're not commenting at this time. So for the family, though, this has been a long road to some form of justice, and obviously a big blow to them to see two more officers not at all held responsible for Breonna Taylor's.
Before I go any further, James Bond, I don't know if you're trolling or not, but that comment was unnecessary. I'm in here trying to talk about something serious, and you wrote that. And I saw somebody else leave a comment similar to that, a few comments up. I just didn't get a chance to acknowledge it because I wanted to let the video play. But since we're at the end of this video, James Bond, you can go. So back to this. And like Deneen just said, as if Kenneth Walker wasn't already traumatized enough, now you're stacking on top of his trauma and then going back and saying, oh, he's the one responsible. Look at this. This is what the headline says. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend caused her death. Those are literally the first few words in the title. They want to make sure that they let you know that it was his fault when it really was not his fault. He was defending his home, him and his girlfriend, to the best of his ability. With all those shots that rang out, it's a miracle that he didn't even get hit. He was a licensed gun owner. All the shit that they tell us that we should be doing, and we do it, whenever it boils down to it, here they come rolling, like literally spinning the block to say how wrong we are. That's why I personally do not take morality lessons from them. I shouldn't speak for the collective, but I'm going to say it. Neither should you. That goalpost literally comes with a set of wheels attached to it with the way that it travels. Now, the reason why I pulled up this particular article is because I found it very interesting with some of the comments that I saw underneath it. I'm not going to read the article because the video speaks for itself. So I don't have to go and read the particular article. But we're going to go through some of these comments and see the bullshit that some of these people wrote. So we got this one person right here who goes by the name of Wolverine, who said, exactly, you're damn right he did. And they're talking about Kenneth Walker being responsible for Breonna's death. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. She'd still be alive today had he not shot his gun through a closed door. So I hope that money, this is what they're really upset about. I hope that money he was given will all, and he put all in all caps, be spent towards defending himself. And I hope he goes to prison for it. I don't know what the hell this Wolverine person is or what the hell they're talking about. But notice they went right to the money aspect. Someone said that is awful. They deserve to go to prison for her death. All of those officers involved should get at least some jail time. They murdered an innocent woman, and you're going to let them get away. Shame on you. To which someone replied with, a woman who effed around, got in the middle of, and lost her life for playing stupid games. I don't care what she looks like. You F, you fuck around, and you find out, period. And shout out to John Guillory for gifting 5 memberships. Caldonia, Woozy 1, Marcella Graham, Kane the Bad Guy, Mama Debus. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Someone said, whatever happened to accountability for your actions? And this is one thing that police departments, of course, this nation seem to never want to do when their officers are dead wrong in their actions, always covering up and covering for the wrongdoing. And I know you're going to have a bunch of haters critique in this comment, but the facts are true. One person replied to that with, the facts are the officers were shot at. Anything after that is on the boyfriend, shooter, not the police that have a right to fire in self-defense, for Christ's sake. So they came in with a falsified warrant, doing a no-knock warrant, and he's defending himself in his home, and he's wrong for defending himself in his home. Listen to what they're saying, because they only do this when it's us. But then when it is them, because here's the thing. The thing about Dub S is they think they're so goddamn invincible that they won't get touched. And when they do, that's when they want to get out, go out in the street, cry, bitch, and complain, and then don't even barely do that. They'll look to the left and to the right and everywhere in between and look to see if anyone else is going to do it for them. To which I will look at them and say, fuck you, you're on your own. We got our own shit to contend with. You do whatever it is that you feel you got to do. Hell, most of them, when it's even them, they'll still talk the same exact way. A lot of them think that the cops are always in the right with everything because they feel like it can't happen to them. But here's the thing, it has happened to them. Many of them don't give a damn though, as long as it's still continuing to happen to us. That's when they're fine with it. Someone said, really, they busted in that man's house? That's his job to protect his home. They went there on purpose, a bad warrant. Do y'all research? Let the civil court handle this. Her old man didn't ask for this woman to die by the hands of overzealous officers plus racists. To which someone replied with, I'm sorry, but that boyfriend still has to have his responsibility for getting her killed. She was doing his dirty work and he was a known drug dealer. No, Paige Lovelace, you goofy bitch. You got the wrong guy. Kenneth Walker was not a drug dealer. Just sitting up there lying. That was another thing that pissed me off. When the details was coming out about this story, they kept saying Kenneth Walker was a drug dealer. And they keep saying the officers have a right to fire. They fired 32 goddamn shots. The way they came up in there, even if Kenneth Walker didn't do anything, Kenneth Walker could have just been going to go to the bathroom, and they would have took him as a threat. It was dark. There were no lights on. The only lights that were present were their flashlights. Someone says, so the police forged a warrant, a legal document, broke down an innocent person's door, got mad because the occupant defended themselves, killed Breonna, and now are getting off. What the F? And then someone replied with, you're a moron. They weren't innocent. Secondly, they knew they were wanted. Thirdly, the officers made it clear that they were at the door. Lastly, the thug shot at the officers first. So there are some people in this comment section that are making sense. It's the replies where people saying like whatever. I don't know who the hell this person is. They just made up a name and decided to troll. Exactly, AW1 said the guy they were looking for was already arrested. They had no business being at Breonna Taylor's apartment. But you know, we live in the post-truth era, like Black Light always says, and shout out to Black Light because he's in the chat. We live in the post-truth era. They live in the land of lies and fallacies. Let's see what else they talk about. Okay, believe it or not, there are some, like I said, there were some comments in there that actually made sense and people actually see the forest from the trees. But like I said, the comments that I read, yeah, as to be expected. Like I keep telling y'all, I keep telling you, they feel that when stuff like this happens with us, it is completely and utterly justified. But the very second that it happens with them, then that's when they want to get shit changed. They want to get a law changed. They want to get out into the street and start crying and throwing temper tantrums and wondering why this and this is happening to them. Well, remember what you said about so-and-so black person when it was going on with them? Yeah, the block, the system spun the block on your ass and now it's coming back to touch you because you thought that it wasn't going to happen to you. And that right there is a major symptom of Dub S for those who are unaware. A major symptom, because it has several, a major symptom of Dub S is feeling like they are untouchable when they do the things that they do. And then when it happens to us in particular, then that's when they want to be all high and mighty. And saying, oh, if you would have just did this would have happened. Oh, you shouldn't have done this, and then this would have happened. This would have happened if you just did this. Comply, comply, comply. All the things that they don't do. I keep saying, those who are okay with this judge, which by the way, let me go scroll through this article because I don't even think they mentioned the judge's name. I'm gonna see if they mention the judge's name. I'm curious. I don't even think they mentioned the judge's name, so they giving this judge protection. Yeah, I don't see it. They didn't mention it in the clip either. But anyway, like I said, just because you don't think it can happen to you is probably the reason why it may happen to you. And if they let these two off, again, I didn't even know who these two were. I said before, I'll say now, I didn't even know who these two were. I was only familiar with the main three that they kept peddling out there. But then when I look at that video, I'm like, it was definitely more than three that came through that door. Because remember, Daniel Kuhnman, he was one of the main catalysts as to why the three main ones we kept hearing about did not get charged. It started with him. When he decided as the attorney general or the DA, whatever his title was, to not prosecute those three that we always heard about, that's when I knew it was going to go downhill from there. And then his goofy looking ass going to run for governor and lost by a landslide against a white Democrat. And you know what? And good. Now his silly ass is some CEO of some major PC organization. I'm sure he fits right at home over there. Ain't heard about him since then, and I'm fine with that. I think the thing is that I'm more mad for, or the person I'm more pissed off for, is Kenneth Walker. Because at the end of the day, he was already traumatized enough of having them barge through his home and fire all those rounds. 8 of them hit his girlfriend while she was laying down. And he had to literally witness his girlfriend die brutally in front of him. That's an image he's not going to get out of his head. And one of the first things they do is immediately charge him. They immediately charged him and arrested him for something they did. Had him in jail until he went before Judge Stevens and he let him, and he released him and had all the charges dropped. Only to fast forward 4 years later to say, oh, we're going to drop these major charges against these two, and then we're going to pin her death onto you. Now, fortunately for him, they can't spin the block and try to charge him with anything. But you know what? With the kind of system we live in, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried it. But I don't think that'll work. So they said, you know what? Even if we can't charge you with it, we'll just hang over your head that you are responsible, further traumatizing you. Even though we know he knows he's not responsible, we'll put out there that he did it, and hopefully that weighs down on him. Marcus, you said, is the boyfriend suing? I have no clue. I haven't read anything that says he's been suing. Like I said, every article that I pulled up was a week ago when this was posted initially. This is a 10-day-old article. And I tried to see if there was anything recent that came out after this one, but it hasn't been anything. When I type Breonna Taylor name into Google and hit the news tab, it's all pretty much the same thing. Lady D says, since they couldn't arrest him for the death, they're trying to break the brother down mentally. Exactly. That's really what it all is. It's a mental war. It's a mental thing. They thought they had a win when they charged him and arrested him 4 years ago when it happened, but they put him in front of the right judge. Imagine him having to go in front of this judge, the one that had these federal charges dropped. He would still be in there right now. But like I said, I have a video coming for y'all at the end of the week. I want to say it's at the end of the week. That is going to echo this same type of thing, but it's not going to be a no-knock raid. But it's the thing of a black man defending himself and his family, and the same kind of consequences kick up. And I'm like, after a while, it's no longer a coincidence. It's a pattern. And shout out to Mike Hart for subscribing to the channel. And there was somebody else that subscribed to the channel earlier too. Shout out to you. Janessa said, no, he's gotten compensation. Kenneth Walker and Breonna Taylor's family have they've been got compensation. That's why that first comment that I read, they were saying that they need to try to get the money back. They already got compensated. What's going on, Auntie? My internet auntie just entered the chat. But yeah, like I said, I'm not surprised that this happened, but that doesn't mean it doesn't frustrate me, if that makes sense. And I'm allowed to be frustrated because the evidence is there. This judge, whoever they are, just turned a complete and utter blind eye to it and just said, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm just going to go ahead and drop these charges, and then I'm going to blame the boyfriend. And then you got people that agree with what this judge did, not realizing it can happen to you. I mean, everything they did in that situation was so dead wrong. Everything. And they painted them up to be the heroes. Y'all remember what they were saying back in 2020 when this happened? This was literally right at the beginning of the pandemic. Like when we had to shut up and stuff started getting shut down, that's right when it happened. I remember vividly all the stuff they would say and all the stuff that they put out to dirty up this woman's name, her boyfriend's name, all of that, to try to justify what they did. Joy said, are there any legitimate cops in America? I would say there are some, but guess what? Many, if there are, they've been ousted, not because of being crooked, but because they exposed something. I'll give you an example, Joy. There is a good one. You ever heard of a man named Christopher Dorner? He was a good one. Yeah, Christopher Dorner. And just like Denise just said, few and far in between. But anyway, y'all, like I told you, this was probably going to be a fairly short stream. It was only one article. I didn't have any plans on dropping the link today because this is one of those heavy hitting topics. Next time I go live will most likely be on Wednesday. I can't think of what the topic is going to be, but Wednesday's the next day I plan on going live. But shout out to everybody that came through to the stream. Shout out to John Guillory for gifting 5 more members. I really need to do a members only stream. I just got to figure out when to do it and what to talk about. It's kind of hard, like trying to come up with a members only topic to discuss that can't already be discussed with everybody. But I'll figure it out, even if it's just like a kickback stream of some sort. But with that being said, everybody, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to all the mods, all the people over on Patreon. And of course, if you are over on Patreon, y'all will get a new video tomorrow. I'm going to put the premiere window up after this stream is done for the video that y'all will be getting tomorrow. And shout out to y'all. I know y'all really enjoyed the Triple P video that I did today. Y'all was going crazy. Y'all had me dying in the comment section. But shout out to y'all for doing that. With that being said, be safe and be one.